Oh, hey, it's us again. It's me again. It's Benny again. We're here today. We're going to talk to you. You know, this is the redraft injuries. We're covering injuries with Britannica Ben McCown, DPT, one of the sharpest minds in the industry, and a dear cohort, friend, and colleague of mine. So, first things first, before we get into it, this is brought to you by ProfitX. ProfitX is the number one sports prediction market in the entire world. So, you're able to eliminate the house and be able to get the best odds on the market by playing and submitting tickets with your friends and or just strangers to get action. So I'm looking at today, and my favorite play on here is going to be Mac Jones over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Right now, you can get that at plus 174. It's actually down. It's actually been moved down. So let me put this up here real quick. I'm being an idiot right now. Don't know how to share my screen. So I'm just going to share that. So you can get this on ProfitX, and then we can get into the injuries if that's okay with you, Ben.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So here we have, here you can see the Mac Jones plus 174 in the wild. So yeah, you can see Mac Jones plus 174, over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I believe he's going to get it done. I think that he's nowhere near as bad as
How
everybody's
many of
making
those
him
does
out to be.
Pearsall get?
How many of those does Pearsall get?
One, two.
At least
Get
one.
both.
At least one. So we're getting into the weeds of it today. But where did you want to go first in terms of injuries, notable injuries that we cover? Obviously, we have, just to run it down real quick, and then I'll cede the floor to you. I know I've been talking a whole bunch. You got Jaden Reed with a broken collarbone. George Kittle goes to IR. Drake London, who got injured in week one, is full go. Evan Ingram is full go. Jawan Jennings is expected to play. I do need to verify that he's going to be active. Jalen Waddle is also expected to play per Mike McDaniel, first coach, odds on favorite to be the first coach fired. Mike McDaniel and Xavier Worthy is out for this week. So, where do you want to go in terms of covering these injuries?
I'll go to a guy who wasn't even mentioned actually, and I think it's just because he's off the injury report at this point. But it's Brock Bowers that a lot of us were worried heading into the weekend that he might be sitting and we might have to start Michael Mayer. But it was reported yesterday that Pete Carroll stated that he would be playing on Monday, wouldn't be available.
So that's a huge relief. That's a huge relief to all fantasy managers. I mean, it never feels good. I mean, we've all been sharp on Kittle. We've been in some heated debates about George Kittle's usage and what he could mean to the 49ers. He had 5 targets in the first, 18 minutes of play. So suck it, whoever said that he's not going to be a volume tight end and a tight end premium. But I mean, he's on IR, so he's going to miss at least the next 4 games. So we don't get to talk about him again for a while. But Brock
I'd
Bowers
still put this a
being,
top five tight end though.
yeah,
By end of
yeah,
season, if he only misses 4 games.
yeah. Oh, he's definitely one. He's going to be a top 2 or top 3, top 2, potentially top 1 in points per game. We know that
Mm-hmm.
unequivocally, no full stop, no equivocations. But beyond that, like we know that once he comes back, he's going to be the focal point of the passing attack. Depending on when we're going to get Brandon Ayuk back, the health of Jawan Jennings, whether or not Ricky Rolex is available with soft tissue injuries and or other extracurricular activities affecting his availability. So, but Brock Bowers being available in this Monday Night Football game, do you think that? I mean, I've read. I don't know. Do you have a good read on what the actual injury is without
It's an
just by looking
MCL
at the
sprain.
video? MCL
That's at
sprain.
least what I've gathered from some of the things that I've been seeing and likely the injury. I've also seen potential of either MCL or PCL. Um, the worry was, at least prior to this weekend, was that if he sprained it, if they put him in and he possibly you know re-aggravated it or aggravated it more or potentially made it worse, that people were thinking there could possibly be ligament tear, right? So I don't think there's any concern of that. It sounds like it was just a mild sprain, something that held him out of practice for a couple of days, but he was able to log full practice yesterday.
Yeah, yeah. So he should be good to go. I mean, it's it feels better when the players that you select in the top 24 are available for your fantasy team. And, Brock Bowers being one of the most, I mean, we've already anointed him as the next tight end cheat code. Where do you want to go next in terms of these injuries? What caught your eye? Or you want to just move down the list of, I mean, we don't really have a ton of relevant.
I think Evan Engram being kind of a concerning one. He's full of go, but the calf injury is something that does concern me that he could possibly hurt it during the game and end up being out, and Denver has to figure it out without Evan Engram.
Yeah. I mean, that was a weird debut, but do you have any sort of inkling on whether or not like this is going to limit him? Or do you think that this role, like, do you think it was just a weird game in Denver last week, and this, like, obviously the calf popping up is maybe that led to the slow start for Evan Engram? Or do you think he's just all systems go, we have no concern whatsoever for Evan Engram?
I think it's a question mark. Unfortunately, I wish I could glean more knowledge on that. But I think when you're dealing with a calf injury like he's dealing with, you're going to take the risk that he ends up being out at some point during this game, or he could play the whole game and he's fine. Oh, and Dustin joined late, but Bowers is playing.
Yeah. If you haven't, like, subscribe, leave us, give us some sort of visual feedback as to you guys are enjoying this. So please. But yeah. All right. So question mark for Evan Engram. Not really, like, no real lean as to whether or not the performance was hindered by a lingering calf issue, or if this week he'll be limited against the Colts but he's practicing in full. So we have less room for trepidation, but it's still kind of a question mark. Am I right? Did I hit that on the head?
Yep, absolutely. And I think he's in your lineup. If you drafted him to be your tight end one, you likely don't have any really great options unless you were able to get Harold Fannin off the waiver wire. But I think at this point you just play him and hope for the best.
Dude, you got to. I don't really. He's one of those tight ends in that range, like the Tyler Warren, Tucker Kraft, Evan Engram. Evan Engram was probably, the highest in terms of ADP because people are excited about the Joker role. So getting him to perform would feel a lot better for your fantasy lineup. Let's see here. Kenneth Walker or Ramondre Stevenson. Oh, we're going K9 there.
Yeah.
Ramondre, you better get ready to learn UFL, buddy. You're a Birmingham Stallion. Yeah. Drake or Baker. Baker taking on the Texans this week. Drake taking on the Dolphins. Give me Drake. Where are you at on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you just take even the matchup right there is pretty easy considering the Dolphins just got gouged last week. So I'm also going to take the guy who's a little bit more. I think they're equal in that, like, in talent level of being able to put points up for you, but the matchup alone just gives me Drake May.
Yeah. The matchup is absolutely nails for Drake May, and again, that's the feels bad bowl today. The Dolphins, whoever loses that game, Dolphins and Patriots, I feel like it's going to impact their season one way or the other pretty quick. One of which being, Mike McDaniel could lose his job if they lose bad enough. And, it's much more important for the Dolphins than it is for the Patriots because nobody has any real expectations for the Patriots this year besides, like, just don't suck really, really bad.
Yeah.
Thoughts on dropping Blue for Monongai in a full PPR redraft, both bench stashes? Yeah, I would do that. Jaden Blue's not active today. Yeah. Again, at least we know Kyle Monongai is going to be active. Let's see. Oh, this is a great point, Dustin. Thank you for this. Britannica, I need to let you loose on this Purdy toe injury thing. We need your expertise as to what the long-term outlook could be for Brock Purdy's injury.
Yeah, so I think at some point later, Dustin ends up sharing an issue with his shoulder. This is actually the first time in Purdy's career that he's had a shoulder issue outside of, I think I was looking it up and he did have a high school injury, but old enough and not anything worth holding water on that. But I think the toe injury is the more concerning part that would likely keep him out for a couple of weeks. So I would expect that Purdy probably doesn't make it back into the lineup comfortably until, I mean, next week would be early, but I think he could do it. Likely give me 2 weeks.
Yeah. So is it turf toe, hammer toe, or camel toe? Like, what's the issue?
It's turf toe. So essentially, turf toe is just a very acute compression of the joint at some point during play, or if he had done it in practice. And it does look like it was at Seattle, and he did sustain in the left shoulder and the toe injury at the same time in that game. But yeah, it's basically just a compression of the end of that toe, and you're just really controlling for a lot of inflammation and trying to reduce pain as much as possible.
Yeah. So this is probably going to be something that would you say it's fair to say that even when he does come back, there's an element of pain management that he's going to be dealing with that might affect his mobility. He ran for a career high 300 yards last year, and he did score, I believe, 5 rushing touchdowns. So maybe we get a lower end outcome than that when he does return.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you just have to think about taking his scrambling out of it, right? That he likely is going to be more in the pocket, trying to get it to his weapons that way. But yeah, I would expect at least the first couple of games back from the toe injury that he's going to be treating that a little bit more nicely. Probably going to be taping it with the trainers, but the hope is, he's back next week and at least putting points in your lineup, because I would rather that over, again, a lot of the other options that are on your bench.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be totally honest with you right now. You moving the mic right there just took us from like old, like 2-channel radio, like 2-way radio to like full HD.
So I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, no, you're good. I mean, it just sounds like we were fine before, but now we're in full HD. But let's lock in on a couple more start sits, and then we'll talk a few more injuries.
Yeah.
You want this one, May or Penix? You know which way I'm going on this one.
What's the matchup today for Penix?
So Penix gets McCarthy in what could be what's going to be a formative opinion conversation for all dynasty managers. That's my favorite game of the week, the most important game to me. So
yeah. I mean, I think the positive for Penix is the Vikings probably, Bijan will still do fine, but they've got a pretty good rush defense. I'm going to go May here. Ooh.
I want to go Captain Durag with all of my being. I do, but this is the first time that you see that Brian Flores defense is like the first time that you see like a shadow figure as a closet in the like when you're a little kid, you're like, there's something in there. It's like, it gets real spooky when you start talking about taking on Brian Flores' defense. I mean, this dude is doing some diabolical things, like flipping covered shells and Simpra. Anyway, we don't have to get into that. I would love to go Michael Penix here, and there's still a good possibility. Like I have Michael Penix on a lot of teams, but I would go Drake May here because that matchup is just so much softer. They're not even in the same universe as defensive coordinators, Anthony Weaver for the Dolphins and Brian Flores for the Vikings. So I'm going to go Drake May there.
Yeah.
So, and it's 6-point passing touchdown. Yeah, I'm going to go Drake May just because there's a good chance that like Travion breaks off a screen. They're already hyper targeting him. The booty warrior is out there doing work. Like, I don't know. I lean Drake May, and guys, I love Michael Penix, but I guess let me ask you guys this. May is softer than the hard
Penix.
Let me ask you this. And this isn't a part of the show. Drake May or Kyler 4-point touchdown. Yeah, we're gonna have to go. We got to go Kyler on this one. We got to go Kyler on that one. Do you have a different opinion there?
I'm really it's Panthers.
Yeah,
especially 4-point passing touchdown. Yeah, go Kyler.
Yeah, that kind of changes the math. That changes the math.
Nonetheless.
Okay, So
but hang on a second, Chef. I do have to say this. My buddy sent me a meme, and this is just for all the Penix truthers out there. But it was like, this is another time where we have an Atlanta Falcons quarterback with one letter off from a male appendage. We had Michael Vick, and we had there's something here, right? We got it. Michael Penis and Michael Vick.
Personally, send me that and I'll throw it up on the screen. If you send it to me on Discord or whatever. But I think Michael Penix is him. I think he's going to shock some people with not only his willingness to put the ball, like hyper target his targets, but put the ball into spaces where very few people have the arm talent to get it to. So I think that he's really going to surprise some people. But if we're saying like, hey, what's the 50th percentile outcome? I think the 50th percentile outcome for Drake May, and even I would go as far as to say JJ McCarthy, same game, would be safer against those defenses than it would be, than it is against, a guy like Brian Flores. Like I don't listen, I don't mess around. There's a lot of things I'll mess around with. Ouija boards and rookies taking on Brian Flores defenses are two things that I just absolutely try not to mess around with at all. So yeah, left-handed dual threat, black quarterback named Michael with a last name that's one letter off from from male genitalia. Yeah,
2001 is back, boys.
And they're both left-handed.
We now need him on the Madden cover.
Yeah, no, we don't need him on a Madden cover. Hell, I think Vic went to prison for 2 years after he was on a Madden cover.
Oh, jeez.
That's the opposite of what we need. We do not need him anywhere near a Madden cover. We just need him just dropping back and dropping bombs. What'd you say?
I said a locked up Penix.
All right. We got to get it back on the rails. Where do you want to go next? What injury or what game potentially strikes your interest from an injury perspective that I can get you to drop the knowledge on the people with?
Let's go back to Jaden. So we talked about Jaden Reed last week in the Jones fracture. And at this point now, we're not dealing with the Jones fracture being an issue. Now he's got the fractured clavicle. So, I mean, the earliest we're likely to see Jaden Reed hit the football field again is probably another 6 to 8 weeks. I would say, when do they have a bye?
I think they're like 10, maybe. Let me see. We're gonna get that information for you if you could.
That's a safe bet at least. I think hopefully sooner than that, but I think the reports that I've seen is that they're expecting like 6 weeks at least.
Yeah, collarbones they've actually got a week 5 bye, so maybe that's a little helpful. But I mean, even when he does come back from the collarbone, we're talking about a guy trying to play through a Jones fracture, and that's again the evidence for him being able to accomplish this is. But maybe it's better because now he's not going to be practicing. He's not going to be pounding and potentially putting that at risk for re-injury, or if it could be injured further. I don't even know. I'm not sure. Could you provide some insight on what would the risk be there in terms of re-injuring the Jones fracture and the return to performance from a collarbone injury?
Yeah, I mean, the likelihood is he's not going to make the actual fracture worse. He's just prolonging his timeline of being able to return to play. And the healing process of the body is going to be disturbed from the fact that he's continuing to play on a Jones fracture like that. As far as the collarbone goes, he's just not going to be able to play at all, right? Like you can play through a foot injury. Again, I wouldn't advise playing on a Jones fracture, but the collarbone injury, he's not going to be able to play at all on, right? Like this will tie in really well to our possibly a next player, but Xavier Worthy will probably be back next week, right? He's out this week, but the speculative reports are he was back at practice this week, and they are going to do non-surgical options to just try and play through it. We'll see how long that lasts because I don't know. I think it's
Right.
just going to be pain management. Like what
Right.
if you remember maybe it was I can't remember. Baker Mayfield was drafted to the Browns in 2018. So it was likely like 2020, 2021. I can't remember the year, but when he tore his labrum, non-throwing shoulder, and ended up still playing through the season. And then I think had off-season shoulder surgery. So
Yeah.
that's what I think Xavier Worthy wants to happen, hoping that he can just like manage it throughout the season and then end up having off-season surgery. But the quarterback position is different than the receiver position, right? Baker
Right.
Mayfield can at least aim to try to not utilize that non-throwing shoulder as much as possible. Issue is in football in general, you're being tackled. At least for Xavier Worthy, he has to try to be able to catch with both hands, right? So
Right.
that's the concern with playing on a torn labrum. It's really not going to get worse. I think that's the question that maybe a lot of people have. A torn labrum can't really get worse per se, but also that's usually dealing with a lot of people who aren't playing American tackle football, as you would say, Chev. But I think for Worthy, expect that his ceiling is likely capped, just because to me, I just worry about him playing a full game and being able to handle that.
I guess that's the biggest issue I have is figuring out like what, playing through it as a quarterback is different. I would like to liken it to football is a collision sport for 10 other players on the field most of the time. If the kicker's not on the field, it's just a contact sport for a quarterback. You're limited in how much you can hit them, how much they're put in harm's way. No, part of this is my bias as a former defensive lineman saying this, but you just can't, especially at the NFL level, you can't really hit them like that. So it's different trying to, your left arm isn't going to be as involved in plays. Obviously, maybe your follow through gets affected a little bit, or you feel like a little tinge or a twinge whenever, if you have to throw off platform or if somebody like hits you or something. But it's totally different trying to play through this as a receiver than it is trying to play through it as, a quarterback and it's your non-throwing shoulder. Obviously, you can't do it if it's your throwing shoulder. You just have surgery.
Yeah.
So
also a bit of speculation here on Worthy, but the defensive back on the other side knows where that weak shoulder is, right?
Right.
And so they could really try to take advantage of that and make it a point to really take him out of the game. Maybe not like actually take him out of the game injury wise, but really make it a point that he's going to be ineffective.
Yeah, if you're out there, it's fair game. Like, this is all public information. We're not doing anything besides using the information available to us to provide an outcome that we want. So yeah, if you're out there, it's fair game. I missed this earlier, DB. My bad. Appreciate you tapping in with us. Hunter Henry or Kyle Pitts? You got to lean on this one.
As much as I hate to say it, I think I got to go Kyle Pitts. I don't know.
Oh wow.
After what we saw last week.
I'm gonna be a little contrarian here, and I'm gonna go Hunter Henry because we just saw the Dolphins give up the most receptions in a debut to a tight end in NFL history. It's Harold Fannin, it's Tyler Warren. Both of them caught 7 passes in their debut. The Dolphins gave up 7 receptions to a rookie tight end. I think that this passing offense gets on track big time today with the the Patriots against the Dolphins. I'm very bullish on the Atlanta offense. I don't know how this is going to work tonight against Brian Flores. If Michael Penix is just on fire, if the Penix is on fire tonight, then he becomes a top 10 dynasty QB for me. And not because of chlamydia or STDs, but just because he's really good.
So I was looking into it. Kyle Pitts had 7 receptions, I believe, off of 9 targets.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, are we going to see, like, I think I've had Kyle Pitts on my main dynasty league since his rookie season. So is this, I think this is 3rd or 4th season, like 4th season breakout?
Yeah. Look, it can't. So technically, I guess, like we got the rookie breakout. Did go for over 1,000 yards, and then he's just been terrible ever since. Like, he's just hurt us time and time again. So it makes me a little bit trepidatious I do think. I mean, Hunter Henry had a pretty decent game last week. Let me get the box score up. But Drake May threw it 46 times, and Hunter Henry was involved. I don't think he had very many first read targets, which is fine. I mean, Hunter Henry's just a guy that he's a reliable option. I think if this is not a bottom 5 offense, then we immediately can assume that he's going to be like that reliable tight end 12 to 16. But if you're swinging for the fences, just start Kyle Pitts, because I don't
Looks
think
like
you're going to
4
get
for
that.
8 targets.
Yeah,
and 66 yards for Hunter Henry.
Yeah, so we're not going to get. I mean, that's if you throw a touchdown on there, that's basically a ceiling performance for Hunter Henry. Whereas Kyle Pitts might be able to do something similar. How many? As many as I need, brother. They're never ending. I mean, I've been dealing with one letter off of his name for 40 years now, so I'm pretty locked in with the jokes when it comes to that. Yeah, no, I'm excited to see though. I'm excited to see Hunter Henry and Kyle Pitts both were intriguing late round options. So if they can be a consistent part of the offense, I lean towards hey, whoa, Big D. Whoa there, Big D. Whoa there. Whoa, player. Yeah. We're gonna be talking about baby oil here in a second.
That,
You gotta
that big
calm
D.
down. But yeah, I just think that both being intriguing late round options. I think they're both really decent plays. I like the safety of Hunter Henry a little bit better, but if you want to swing for the fences with the performance of Kyle Pitts and just hope that he's figuring out how to football again, then I can't fault you for that. But I'm going Hunter Henry. What all right. Go ahead, Dustin. Ben. Sorry. Just finished up with Dustin. My bad.
Yeah, no worries, man. So I was looking here too, right? I guess the other injury for me, and actually I need to make sure I don't have him in my lineup, but Jawan Jennings so he's still listed as questionable. At least that's what we have on our show notes.
Mm-hmm.
But do we expect him to play? I mean, so it's a shoulder injury, which preseason was a calf injury, just like we were talking about with Evan Engram. But the shoulder injury popped up from last week. It looks like
he is active.
It's cleared. Okay. Yep. Active for week 2. So, all right, that takes a weight off my chest because I do have him starting, as much as I don't like that, because I really the only 49ers options that I feel comfortable with this week are McCaffrey and Pearsall.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much. I mean, you could stash Tunges, stash Tunges, but I wouldn't be too keen on just throwing him into the lineup yet. So I would definitely just only be playing Pearsall. I mean, in Superflex, if you're desperate, if you had Purdy, I get, and you didn't have another option, you could maybe throw Mac Jones out there, just because I don't feel like the Saints defense is anything to write home about. And they're doing this weird denial thing, just as you can see here. Jawan Jennings and Trent Williams active versus Saints. So you guys were confused or concerned about whether or not they would be active. Trent Williams, who is great for the run game and pass game, and Jawan Jennings, being a reliable pass catcher, are active this week. Big D has a great question here. Any major defensive injuries that could create a pop in fantasy? That's a great question, and the answer to that is
I was going to say the Bills.
The Steelers and the
Steelers.
Yeah. So you take it first. You tell us what you're looking at with the Bills that gives you cause for pause, and how that could potentially impact fantasy today.
So, and I don't know, I didn't check the injury reports from, compare that from the previous week, but they're missing Shaq Thompson and Tre'Davious White this week. I think with that missing from the secondary, and of course Shaq Thompson taken away from the middle of the field, I think Justin Fields is going to be a great play this week, especially in DFS, especially sitting on your lineups as possibly a QB2.
Oh yeah, without question. I'm 100% with you. If they're missing Shaq Thompson, they're missing. See, I'm gonna put this on the screen really quickly. Let's see here, just to just to highlight Ben's point here. Let me zoom in, make sure we got all the nonsense out of there. Well, I don't think I can. So let's just do this. All right. But here are the inactives today. Curtis Samuel, Teron Johnson. So quite a bit out. Shaq Thompson's out. Ed Oliver's out. Landon Jackson, the rookie from
Oh,
Arkansas,
I didn't
is
see it
out.
all.
Yeah. So
That's
this,
even juicier. It's
yeah,
gonna be a
that makes
shootout.
this, yeah. And the Jets are obviously much better. Oh, I don't know. I hit the wrong button. Sorry. The Jets are obviously much better. The Jets are obviously much better on the ground and going to be a much better offense than we contended early in the season when it looked like, or early in the preseason when it looked like Justin Fields was having accuracy issues. It's just we can't overreact. We know that Justin Fields is going to be great for fantasy, but do you think that this allows for more of a ceiling performance for Brees Hall? Brees Hall had 107 yards on 19 carries last week. You think he's got more of a ceiling now with all of these defensive injuries?
Absolutely. With Shaq Thompson and Ed Oliver out, I think he could gash that defensive line.
Oh yeah, so that's pretty cut and dried. I'm trying to get to the Steelers here because I know the Steelers have some injuries. I know Joey Porter Jr. is out this week. And I'm trying to get to that if the Twitter X would cooperate with me here a bit here.
Yeah,
Just
I mean,
trying
from
to
your injury report that you posted, Derek Harmon on the defensive line and safety Deshaun Elliott.
yeah. Yeah. So let's see. I feel like I saw somewhere where Joey Porter Jr. was going to be out also as well too. Also
Yeah,
too.
I think
But
I think I saw that.
yeah, here we go. All right, there we go. All right, big boy pants are officially on, and now we're gonna get to the nitty gritty of it. So Joey Porter Jr., Deshaun Elliott, Derek Harmon, who's been injured since the preseason, but he was going to be a key cog of what they were doing. So yeah, Big D. I think the Steelers today are another team that could be primed for some defensive regression. Uh, actually, so I heard a stat. I believe it was Andy Holloway from the Fantasy Footballers that said that going back to week 13 of last year, the Steelers have given up 27.6 points per game. So like it's like the steel blanket instead of the steel curtain.
That is, I would not have imagined that for them.
No,
And
no. In my mind, bro. I'm looking at that defense and I'm like, okay, you got Cam Hayward, you got Patrick Queen, who's better than what I gave him credit for. You've got Peyton Wilson, you got the trio of corners. That's basically like the what I would think would be an equivocation of the Legion of Boom from back in the day with Darius Slay and Joey Porter and Jalen Ramsey. Like there's all these pieces here, and it just seemed like last week that was just kind of a continuation of what we saw, the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season.
see here. Yeah, no, I mean TJ Watt and Cameron Hitter. The thing is, I saw Cameron Hayward go down at some point last week. It does
Mhm.
look like he had limited practice on Wednesday, didn't practice on Thursday, and then full practice on Friday, with the expectation that right now he's fully active.
Yeah. So that's good to see. Like he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. So Tre'Davious White is going to be active, is what I see
Oh,
here from Mike Garafolo. He's limited in so limited in practice all week. He's back in action. And that's from Mike Garafolo. So I
nice.
guess yeah, we don't want to throw him
Well,
up there. I don't care.
honestly, if they limit more of the passing game, which I mean, I still think Fields will be fine. But yeah, just more in the basket of Brees Hall.
Last one, Jair Alexander is inactive for the Ravens today versus the Browns, which might actually be better for their secondary because he was terrible last week.
Okay, yeah, no, that's the Ravens defense is not performing as well as what we would have thought as well, right? Like,
Yeah.
you expect the Steelers, the Bills, and the Ravens to be locking it down, but they actually look like some pretty juicy matchups for fantasy.
Biggest issue with the Ravens is always like they have for some reason they start off the season just like blowing coverages and like leaving people wide open, and then somehow or another, like week 5 or 6, we're like, oh, the Ravens are one of the best matchups against like fantasy receivers, and then they come out and they're just absolutely, they do this shit every single year, every year. I don't. So let me ask you this. What are your expectations as a Lions fan for this game against the Bears today before we get out of here? I mean, we've answered all the sit questions. I think we've answered,
we've answered the big injuries.
Yeah.
As a Lions fan, I expect the game's gonna be close. A lot closer than I would like. I think within a touchdown for sure. I think if there's a couple of expectations, if the Lions lose this game, we're really concerned about John Morton going forward. And then if the Bears lose in this game, I think then there's a lot of questions asked about the Bears pass catchers and what they end up doing this game.
Yeah. I have one prediction for Titans Rams today, and that is just pain. Kyron Williams, anytime touchdown. Kyron Williams, Devontae Adams, anytime touchdown. Like, do all that. This isn't even a gambling show, and I'm giving you the keys to generational wealth. But Ben, before we get out of here, because I mean, I promised Mrs. McCown this is gonna be 30 minutes. It's 2 weeks in a row we've gone over. So tell everybody where they can find you, and so I can get us out of here.
You can find me on X at the Dynasty Big Mac FF, and you can find our show Dynasty Gambit as well on X, or find us on FSA and Grindhouse on YouTube. And please feel free to reach out to me. Honestly, Twitter is the easiest way. Just share that handle, but I can get you connected with everything. So I don't have a link tree yet. I need to work on that, but be getting that to you guys.
Outstanding. Yeah, we'll be here every week going over the injuries. I'm going to go set one of my 43 lineups for the week. So Ben's got to go wake up his kids or put his kids down for nap time. Hey, good luck to everybody, and we'll see you next week.